This episode of The Incoherent Fangirl is dedicated to our dear, sweet friend in heaven, Ashley. We miss you and we love you 3000.
Welcome to The Incoherent Fangirl,
where we are just waiting for Sebastian Stan and Tom Hiddleston to notice us.
I'm Karen from Paradise Falls.
And I am Mandy of Terracin.
Welcome to episode 2.
Yes, our second episode. We are sticking with it.
I'm never sure what to say after we introduce ourselves.
No, I'm not either, but I mean, that's incoherent. It's on brand.
Yep, here we are. Okay, so last week we talked about ourselves in the intro.
Yeah.
And so this week, I think we are going to talk about how we met, our origin story as a podcast and as friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that first we mentioned that we met in a group that will not be named.
Yeah.
And
we bonded in a group that was like a majority of like Harry Potter fans, I want to say, but a lot of other fangirls as well. And right. I don't really remember how we specifically like started talking.
I don't either, except that I know that for my 30th birthday, my husband got us tickets because, you know, I'm a Disney file. Mm-hmm. And so are you, obviously.
Yes.
Got me tickets to the land for my 30th. So I probably posted in either that group or one of the subgroups that I was coming to California, and you were like, oh, well, I can be there.
I will be there as well.
I will be there. And so for my Disneyland day, I got to meet you and your offspring and Heather, another friend of ours, and we got to do Disneyland together.
Yes, it was so much fun. I think the funniest part about that trip is that we didn't get any pictures together, but there's a picture of
I know
you and your husband and my child.
Yes.
And it's super cute, but there's none of us together.
I think there's actually one of all of us.
Okay.
I think so. I'll have to go looking for it, and if I find it, I'll post it. As long as Heather's okay with it, we can put an emoji over your offspring,
tiny person.
Yeah, she would we don't want to.
She would probably love that though. She'd be like, oh, I have an emoji face.
We can let her pick the emoji. We're not we'll go ahead and give this disclaimer that we're not going to show or name any of our minors in our lives because of obvious reasons. And we know that our listeners will respect that, and if you don't, then that's weird and you should probably leave now.
Yeah, why do you need to know that information?
Right, exactly. Where you're a mom and I'm an auntie, and protecting our kiddos is number one here. But if I find it, we can post it with her as an emoji head.
Yes. and the one with the two of you and her, because that was a really cute picture.
It is a really cute picture.
It's a very cute picture. So
yeah, that was such a good day. I remember sitting in, I think it's like the Red Rose Tavern or something before you guys got there, and I started getting a migraine.
Oh yeah.
Which is like the worst thing ever, but it ended up being okay because I just survived through it, and it wasn't a terribly bad one. I'm very grateful to the Tower of Terror for going. I think it went down that day, so that I didn't, because I wanted to ride it, but I had an excuse not to with a migraine head.
It's Guardians. It's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
we don't have
Guardians
Tower of
Terror. Yeah.
So I remember from that day how the like amazement on your face when you were like, we can just walk to the other park.
Yeah,
because
we don't do that
so
here.
Different.
It really is. You have to take like a bus. They're miles away from each other.
Crazy.
All 4 of the parks in Florida. And see, that's what I'm used to is you cannot under any circumstance. You could, but go to all parks in a day, but it would be like walking in, ride one ride and leave. You can't get substantial enjoyment out of all of. You could do probably not Disney Studios, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. We've done like a split day there and gotten to enjoy it, but not like you can at Disneyland. It was fascinating.
But yeah, so that is our Disneyland story.
That's how we met. Yeah.
Yay. We kind of went off track on there.
Ever since.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. But I mean, again, incoherent on brand.
That's who we are as people. So just a little behind the scenes stuff. We record on Sundays, and then the episodes release the following Friday. So by the time you're hearing this, like 6 days have passed since we've recorded it. So we might get our timeline
time lapse.
Screwy. Yeah. We're talking to you from the past. Woo. Woo. So just if we sound like we're talking about things that have already kind of just, we're a little late to the game. I promise you we're not. We're just releasing it late because sometimes we need time to edit and stuff.
Editing don't do it so. All right, do we want to talk about our fictional boyfriend or girlfriend of the week, or our fictional friend of the week?
Our fictional love interests.
Our
fictional people that we are adoring this week.
So I have a few.
Okay.
I know I mentioned last week that I'm rereading the Red Queen series. I finished Glass Sword yesterday, and I forgot how much I hate that the main character never shows any interest in her best friend from home, Kilorn. It's disrespectful, actually. He gives this speech in this book where he's like, I just always hoped that you'd eventually see me like I see you, and she doesn't, and it just soared right through the chest. So Kilorn Warren is my bookish love interest this week. And then I don't know if you watch Mrs. Maisel, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
It's on my list.
I do. I have a very strong love-hate relationship with Joel Maisel. He is the absolute worst until he has like a redeeming moment and you're like, oh, Joel. And then Lenny Bruce. Means nothing to you right now, but Lenny Bruce in last week's episode, I'm not going to spoil anything, but he gives this to Midge where it's just like, Lenny, oh my God, you're right. And you're right. Oh my God. It's just a wonderful moment. And then I'm already going to go ahead and give a disclaimer for next week. It's going to be Castile Denier. He's my fictional boyfriend next week. So
you're like, I'm predicting it now. It's happening.
Yeah.
You say Lenny
obvious.
You say Lenny Bruce and I just want to yell out Langston Hughes because I am such a musical theater person that I'm just like, that's Rent.
Yeah. Yep.
That was my immediate. I saw you posted. That's all you posted on Facebook. You just yelled Lenny Bruce with like multiple exclamation points. And I just wanted, I didn't do it. I should have, but I wanted to comment Langston Hughes ?
He says what everyone who's watching is thinking.
Oh,
and it's what a character doesn't want to hear. It's what they don't want to hear, but they need to hear. And so you're like,
yeah,
take me to church. Yes. Yes.
Excellent.
So
okay.
Those are my fictional boyfriends of the week.
Okay.
And next week.
Well,
by the time this episode is out, it's next week. It's Friday, and I'm with Castile.
All right. So it's my turn. Fictional boyfriend of the week. I'm gonna say that, okay, you did bookish and like film. So I'll do the same thing. So my bookish fictional character love interest person. Wow, I don't even know the name of our segment. Fictional boyfriend of the week. My bookish fictional boyfriend of the week is, oh gosh, what is his name? I just started a new audiobook, and so I am a visual person, so I can't recall the name. Okay, well, it's the main guy in These Violent Delights. Have you read this book?
I haven't read that yet.
Okay, so I'm gonna look it up really quick because it's gonna drive me crazy.
Yeah,
that I don't know
please.
what his name is. But he is, I've just started this book, so I don't really know like all the details, but it's really interesting so far. Okay, his name is Roma Montagov, and
Okay.
he is just, I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling it. So he's gonna be my bookish fictional boyfriend of the week.
Okay.
I might get into it more when we start talking about like the books themselves in our next segment. But yeah, Roma Montagov. And then my film fictional boyfriend of the week is Richard Castle from Castle, because I have continued my binge. As if you listened last week, you know I'm currently in the middle of binging Castle, and I just got to season 6. So yeah, he's amazing and I love him, and he just like reacts to things in such like an honest way, and he's so funny. And I watched an episode recently where like the main character is like standing on like a pressure plate to a bomb, and she's like, okay, you go, and he just like sits there with her and is like making her laugh and like, you know, trying to make sure that she stays calm. And I'm just like, oh, I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, those are my two. Roma Montagov, which is sad because I didn't remember his name, but it's okay. and Richard Castle.
And that sound means that we have an intruder alert.
Our guest this week is Joanna Liak from Here Comes the Nerd. Hi, Joanna.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
Yeah.
All right. So, Joanna, you are the owner of Here Comes the Nerd, which is one of my favorite small shops ever.
Oh, shucks.
So, know, and I don't think I know this, even though you and I are pretty good friends. How did Here Comes the Nerd get started?
Oh wow, this is quite a journey of a of a story. So I've actually had Here Comes the Nerd. We're coming up on 7 years now, and that like baffles me how like quickly time flies. So my whole life, ever since I was a kid, I was always very like left-brained and right-brained. And so when I was in college, that's kind of when you have to make a decision in life, right? Like, okay, what are you going to major in? And so I was taking art classes and also like math classes. And I kind of had to make like a pivotal decision in my life at that point. And had to tell you, all my art professors were begging me to choose art. And I did not. I, in fact, did not choose art. I'm too, the safety net of a STEM job was too like, in comparison to an artist living, you know, it's so much more safer. Mm-hmm. So I went the stats route, and I was in the middle of getting my graduate degree, my MS in applied statistics, when I realized I hadn't created in like the entirety of like my bachelor's and my graduate degree. So I completely stopped doing art. And so I was like, well, that's sad. So
that is sad.
But the thing is like, if you I felt like if I were to have set something for myself, like every Friday at 2, I'm going to paint, you know, then I felt like it was going to fall through the cracks eventually, right? Kind of like a New Year's resolution, how it eventually fades away. Well, for me anyways, I'm just speaking on my own.
Same.
Yeah. Just over time, you know, you just stop doing it. And so I felt like if I was going to do this, I really needed to jump full into it. And so I was like, I'm going to create a painting shop. And that's when Here Comes the Nerd came to be. It started as a wee little painting shop where where I was selling kind of like fandom based pieces of art. And then it kind of grew exponentially over the next 7 years.
And so
That's really
now,
cool.
that's really cool. So now most of your work is not paintings.
Oh, so you've noticed. No, this is like another pivotal point in my Here Comes the Nerd career. Is I remember the point too. Like I hosted a huge painting sale where, Karen, I think this was before I met you. So you met me during my pin phase, and then I'm sure Mandy found me through you.
Yeah.
So both of
Karen
you
and
met me.
Grimoire.
Oh, perfect. Yes, Grimoire. Oh, my heart. But yeah, so I had a painting sale where I painted, I'm not even kidding you, like 25 pieces. And because of the nature of like custom artwork, they were like kind of expensive. They were very unique. It was like one of a kind, and they sold out in under 2 minutes. And the entire world was upset they couldn't get a painting, right? And that was like my turning point, where I was like, I need to change how I run my business, because I literally can't keep up painting for everyone. Like, people are going to be upset they can't get something. And my whole thing is I'm really big on creating pieces that make you happy, right? Like, and having to fight to the death to get something to make you happy is just, that's sad to me. So I had to switch gears into digital art. So now I paint, quote unquote, on my iPad, and then I create it into knickknacks so more people could actually enjoy it without having to fight too hard. In some cases you still have to fight, but you know, not as bad as it was before.
So I want to know, like, what your process is. How do you create your little characters, and how do you pick which characters you want to create?
Oh man, you like landed on the question. That's wow. That's that's a really good question. So the process for actually like creating the items, it's relatively simple. So I'll start with that question because it's easier. So yeah, so I just have my little iPad, which I have to replace so often, ladies, like so often. I'm just like, because I use it so much that it's just constantly breaking. So I think I've had like 4 in my lifespan of since I started creating pins. So in the past 3 years, I've had 4 iPads.
Wow.
It's it's like the data, just everything. Like my iPads can't handle me. And so once I've chosen a character, I sit down and I draw it. And the process of actually drawing the character, oh man, people ask me how long it takes me to draw my characters, and I'm like, I can't tell you, because it depends on like basically the character, you know. And if things go smoothly and like I draw a line and it's perfect the first time, great. That usually doesn't happen. I usually have to like redraw things until it's like, to me, it's like perfect. So it could take, I think the easiest one I've done was probably my little Shadow Heartless, and that took maybe 2 hours to draw. But then there's ones, and I have one specifically in mind that was kind of a nightmare. but I love her, but she was a nightmare to draw, and that was Punzi. She was,
that's what I was gonna say.
She was horrific, and I'll tell you why. Like, her dress has a lot of details, so the actual dress took a couple hours, but her hair was the worst, because of like, I have a very unique character style, and it was just not working with me, right? And I think Karen got a bunch of text when I was like trying, like just like different versions of the hair. I maybe drew it up to like 80 times.
I remember you texted me and you sent me a picture, and you're like, if you don't like it, just lie to me, because I have done this so many times. And I misread it. And I thought you were like, don't lie to me, tell me what you think. And I was like, oh well, shit. Whoops. But
I remember, because I was
really
like, I remember that text, because at that time I was like, I am done with this, right? Because at that time I had maybe 13 hours put into her. I was done. My wrist, like I was getting carpal tunnel from this design. Like I was mentally blasted from this, and I was just like, I do not care. Just tell me it's the best design you've ever seen. And then Karen's like, her hair looks weird, and I'm like, no. I remember, and I just turned off my iPad and I put it away for like 3 days, and then I had to come back to it. I was like,
I felt so bad.
no. It was just text, like sometimes you can't really interpret.
I don't remember what I was doing at the time, but I completely misread the text.
I mean, you were honest. And the hair did get completely reworked after that. So again,
but she came out really gorgeous. So
she did. I'm very proud of that design.
Oh, she's a labor of love.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, yeah. So it could take up to
like, the labor.
A lot of labor, a lot of love. Some tears too, but we don't have to tell people that. So
when you're drawing a character, do you have like something next to you, like a frame of reference, or do you just go off of like what you know about the character or stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I'm very big on being like as accurate to the character as possible. So I'll look up the actual character, like the character design, like whoever originally put out the character. So like in Punji's case, I actually looked up Tangled. Because once you like start looking up like other people's renditions of the characters, that's kind of when things get spotty, right? So I always look at the original artwork. Yeah, I do a lot of research before I draw these characters, because I don't want to, because I know like every character has some kind of super base out there, right? Like right. Karen, yeah. If I were to draw Hamilton and I were to forget like a major detail about him, I don't know, like maybe his like facial hair or something, I think you would probably lose your mind, right? No, my thing is like once I draw a character, I like to go to one of those super fans to get their input on the character too. So just because I miss things too, and specifically my design style is very front facing, and that kind of like reference is hard to find. So I usually have to like go through like multiple reference photos to kind of see what it would look like in the front. So I could miss stuff. I'm human. I miss stuff. So
and that's smart to go to like people who like obsess over the fandom, because that way you're not going to have people coming out with pitchforks like, why would you miss? You're supposed to hold this.
Well, the pitchforks happened regardless.
There's no way to make everybody happy, but I think it is smart, definitely, to go to somebody who
it's smart to
is so familiar with it that they can be like, yes, great job.
Yes.
Right.
Right. Back to Mandy's original question. So once I draw it, so like the drawing takes anywhere between 2 to 16 hours. It's always a surprise. So it's like, hey, how long is this one going to take? Guess I'm going to find out. And then from there, I kind of had to like graphically edit it on my computer using Photoshop, depending on what kind of item I want to have made. So stickers, I had to edit it differently than like pins and magnets and that kind of thing. So that doesn't take too long because I do it so often. If you saw from Karen's pin board, I do it quite often. So that part's very easy. And then luckily at this point, I have pretty solid manufacturers. So from there, I just send it to someone else to create. I'm actually not sitting there creating the pins myself. The machinery behind creating pins is like remarkable, ginormous, and expensive. So I'm going to trust other people to do that for me. And yeah, that's kind of the process is you draw and then send it to someone else to create.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And then Mandy wanted to know, how do you pick your characters?
Oh yeah,
you're not getting away from this.
For a split second, I forgot that she asked that, but no,
I was definitely gonna let you get away with it.
I definitely wouldn't have wanted to get away with it. That was not my intention. Oh wow, how do I choose? Well, in some cases, and I'm not like a wordsmith here, so forgive me. In some cases it's forced, right? Like with Patreon, my patrons choose a design and I'm drawing that design, right? So in that case, it's less about inspiration and more about like, hey, you have to do this.
Right, demand.
But luckily we kind of set up Patreon to be once it gets to the final round, it's like characters I want to draw. So Unlike before where I had to like kind of like force myself into it, now it's less forced. But in all the other situations, oh geez, it's so many different things could happen, but it really comes from like a kind of like a spark of like inspiration is really what it comes down to. Like for example, I have been working on a Pokemon round. It's going to be my first pin round of 2022. Super excited. I'm like huge into Pokemon. So, but how I kind of like chose the characters I was going to do for that, I knew I wanted to do 5. Yeah, and there's Karen's holding up my little.
I'm holding up your Pikachus because I saw them and I was really excited for more Pokemon. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so yeah, of course. But yeah, I kind of to figure out which Pokemon to do, I kind of just scrolled through the original 151. Like I just kept scrolling over and over until someone would like spark my inspiration, and then I would just draw them. So in that case, I kind of like gave myself like a fandom to base whatever I was gonna draw off of. But yeah, usually it's just like it's like really random. I'm trying to think of a case where I watched something and then I just like immediately drew it.
I feel like there was something, but I can't remember now. Because I feel like I remember you watched something and then you like immediately drew it, and I can't remember what that was.
Actually, it's not like a character design though, but my like Tarzan pin. I remember I paused Tarzan and I like ran away and designed it and ran back and finished Tarzan. So you never really know when inspiration's going to strike, you know. It's kind of it's cool. The life of an artist. Cool.
That is very cool.
Hopefully I kind of answered your question, Mandy.
You did. That's awesome. I'm not artistically inclined very much, and so it's always really cool to see and talk to somebody who can like just take an idea and like make it something tangible.
It's funny you say that because you're a writer, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of an art form.
I can't paint to save my life.
Oh, okay.
Or draw or anything like that.
Well, I can't write, kudos. So we're like a good pair here.
We put it together and then we can like write a kid's book with pictures.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
There we go. We got it.
When we take over the world, I'm telling you.
Eventually.
Getting in on the ground floor here, Joanna.
Yeah.
Perfect. That is why I'm here, to pitch this idea for a children's book series.
Oh, what's your like favorite kind of thing to draw? Like animals, Pokemon, people?
That's a great question. Definitely not people. I'm getting better at drawing people. So Karen's laughing because she saw the evolution of me actually starting to draw people. It took me, it was kind of a wild ride to get to that point. I just couldn't get my style as like human to look cute until like recently. And so definitely not people. I would say I like to do kind of, I don't even know how to word it, but kind of like the Pokemon type characters where they like kind of look like a common animal, but have like cool characteristics to them. Like spoiler alert. Yeah, like, like fantasy animals almost. But like with this Pokemon round, I mean, if you're listening, you're going to get a lot of spoilers here. So hi, thanks for being here. But I think the funnest things for me to draw in a long time is I did the Gen 1 evolutions, and they're like foxes, right? But they have really cool characteristics to them. And they were like, I was having so much fun drawing them that you can, when you finally see the designs, you're going to see and be like, yeah, a lot of love went into those. So yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled to show you all.
That was going to be another question. I was going to be like, can you give us some clues as to who's coming?
Well, I think you know 4 now, so yeah, the one will be the mystery. I already posted almost everywhere about the first one, and then there's the 3 evolutions from Gen 1, and then there's a mystery mega. And me saying mega almost gave it away. So that dwindled the options down a lot.
I'm sitting here thinking of all the Gen 1 Pokemon now. I'm like, we already got Snorlax, so who could it be?
Mandy, are you into Pokemon?
I'm not. My husband is, but he's not here, so I will have to ask him to.
I can see Karen's like gears turning.
My gears are turning.
Like,
and then mine is like
empty. To tell.
My brain is like, I know Pikachu and Squirtle.
Oh, those are two good ones.
And Charizard. I know Charizard. I don't have anything against Pokemon. My little brothers were Pokemon kids. I had cards, but I didn't really.
You never got into it.
No, I wanted to, but I never did. I probably just had a book that I was like, oh, I have to finish reading this and forgot.
I was going to say, you were probably too busy reading.
I was thinking that, yeah. We all kind of have our own fandoms, right? So
right, yeah.
Yes, and we love them all here, and we accept all of them.
Yep.
All of them. That is true.
Is it a water type?
Oh, we're guessing now.
We're playing.
Honestly, if you guess it, like I will tell you what it is, because you guessed it mainly. But so it is not water type.
My only idea.
That's it. No other types, just a water.
That's all I got.
If it's not water, I don't know. It's not Blastoise. Sorry. Okay. Well, there we go.
I thought was Gyarados.
Oh! I didn't even think of him.
So Mandy,
round
you
2?
don't know Pokemon. Yeah, he is like I guess like a water dragon kind of thing.
Serpent.
Ooh,
like water. He's huge. He has a really cool face, but then he's kind of like a worm.
Yeah.
A dragon worm.
Yeah, just like that. That would have been cool. Yeah. He was not on my list of
imagining it in like your style, knowing how you've done like Akemi. I imagine it in like kind of a similar wrapping style. Yeah.
Pokemon round 2, anyone? Round 2?
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Pull me in. It may pull me into Pokemon.
Heyo.
Okay.
So no more guesses, Karen? You quit after Gyarados. You're done.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. I don't know. I can't think of anybody else. Well, Mandy said Charizard. And Charizard
it is not Charizard.
An epic
Squirtle.
If I were to do like the stage 3 starters, it would be like a set. So it would be all 3 of them. So it'd be Charizard and then Blastoise and Venusaur.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be freaking insane if the non-Pokemon girl was the one that gets it?
I mean, it's possible. I'm just imagining everyone listening to this podcast, like if they're Pokemon fans, they're like, Karen, guess more.
They're
like,
probably screaming. Yeah.
It's like Mega, there's only like 5 options here.
A really long time since I've been in the Pokemon world. So trying to remember, and there's 151. Like I can't possibly remember them all.
And to be honest, he is more of a rare one, so you don't really see him too often.
Clue.
That's Mandy's catching on to the clues. She has no guesses though, but she's
rare
no guesses. God, I wish my husband was here. I'd scream downstairs.
Is it I don't know, Aerodactyl?
It is not.
That's a random one.
I forgot about him too. Jeez.
See, it's hard to remember them all. Those are like the ones that just pop into my head when you say, like, I would have guessed Snorlax, but we already have one of those.
We do, yeah. He's my sleepy boy.
He's so chunky. I love him.
He is so chunky. I got him made, and I was worried that 2.5 was like too big. So I went back to the pin manufacturer. I was like, can you make him a little smaller? Because I was afraid he was gonna be like, shh. And she's like, yeah, of course. So we actually changed it to 2.25. And then she forgot and made him at 2.5. And he came in, and I was laughing so hard because he's so ginormous. I was like, okay, it was worth it. Like
it came out really perfect. It's really funny because if you see it on like the card that she puts the pins on to ship out, he takes up the entire card.
The whole card.
He does.
So funny.
He almost falls off the
Listen,
card.
We're not gonna fat shame here, okay? Leave him alone.
No, he's adorable. I love him so much.
we love our sleepy boy.
Do you
Yeah.
have a specific one character that is your favorite that you have ever done?
Oogie Boogie.
Oogie Boogie?
Yeah, he is. He's my favorite character, period. And so drawing him, he's named Angry Sack in my shop. Oh man, because I love coming up with names for them. But yeah, he's like all crabby and he's all like sack-like and angry. Anyways, yeah, definitely Oogie.
If you could choose one character, any character to draw and make into a pin, who would it be?
At this point,
Yeah.
Gyarados would be really cool. Do we want to make a pins with this round? I don't know. God. I didn't even think of him.
Oh no, I've started
I'm
something.
questioning my life. Yeah, it might be a 6-pin round, everyone. We'll see.
I would be really excited about that because I imagine I just have this image of him in like your style would be so cool.
Yeah, now I'm imagining it too. It's oh gosh. I was gonna order everything today and now I'm like questioning. Well, it's a good thing, but yeah, I'll have to
And we've
visit
just
that.
seen the inspiration process happen before our
We
very
did.
eyes.
Just witnessed it.
I want to
I have a
conquer
question
any-
for you ladies.
Oh,
If
okay.
I could draw your favorite character, which character would it be?
This is hard because I have
Well,
I know what you're expecting me to say.
I do. The one you shout on Patreon every month.
Joanna is expecting me to say Alexander Hamilton because I am in love with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Surprise.
But
I would love to see, it's not a character, but I would love to see some Throne of Glass.
I would love to. Oh my gosh. I'm a huge Throne of Glass fan. I'm one of the rare people who likes it more than ACOTAR.
I do too.
I love the character development more. I love the range of characters for sure. Not in the first 3
absolutely.
books, but later on.
Later on, so we talked about it last week, but my until very recently, my number 1 book boyfriend was Lorcan Salvatore from Throne of Glass. I loved him.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't know why. He was it for me for a long time. But then I would think a little Abraxas pin would be so cute, the little wyvern.
Oh, I would love to. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a dream pin too.
So maybe not favorite character, but that would be an interesting series. to have pins of.
Find me if you like Throne of Glass, please follow me on Instagram.
Yes.
Yes.
I need to find the bookish community more.
Yeah.
Like I do this stuff. Yeah, I definitely agree, Mandy. I'm with you.
I
right,
need to read it. I have all the books. I just need to find the time.
Better than ACOTAR. Both of us are agreeing it's better than ACOTAR.
That's
really
rare.
is.
I think everyone else besides us two say ACOTAR is better.
People are screaming
because people are obsessed with Reese. But
yep.
But I'm
last week Mandy was telling me that you liked more than Rhysand, and I just was shaken.
Castile Denier from Blood and Ash. I would pay
100%
any day. See, yes,
But,
he's so much better.
My issue with Reese, and I've actually never been a Reese girl, right? It's because I listened to your guys' episode, so so I was listening to Mandy. I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, she's speaking from my heart. Is they make Reese come off godlike, almost like this perfect, magnificent creature, and I'm just like, yo, give me a man with flaws, yo,
yes,
yeah. So I've never
got to make mistakes to be real.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I loved Reese, I did, but.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Castile Denier any day
any day. Yeah,
oh, yeah. Twice on Sunday. Oh man.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I have 2 series that I now have to read. Thank you, ladies.
Yep.
100%.
Because,
And
you know,
have to tell us your character.
oh,
I think we sidetracked her a bit.
I know, I got distracted. You know, if we're going to go with series, I would love a Wizard of Oz.
I knew
series.
it.
We just had this conversation
I
in
saw
like the
conversation,
mod
yeah.
chat yesterday, I think, and I was like, yes, The Wizard of Oz is my favorite movie. I would
be
love
really cute.
Could you just imagine like a little winged monkey flying next to
I was thinking a little Toto.
and a little Toto.
I was thinking Toto too. Yeah, that would
Dorothy
be cute.
Got a little
Toto
Toto in my hair.
That'd be so cute.
Got a little Toto in my lap right now.
I think that would be my choice. Would be Wizard of Oz.
If you're a Throne of Glass fan or a Wizard of Oz fan, come find me, please. Because both of these series would be amazing. It's just I don't.
It would
need to
be
find
amazing.
you guys.
Yeah.
I
All right. So I think we're gonna wrap it up because it's saying we have 2.5 minutes left, and I'm afraid we're not gonna be able to wrap it up properly.
Yeah.
So Joanna, drop your socials. Let us know where to find you.
Oh man, I need more than 2 minutes for this. I am everywhere on social media. I'm either at HCT Nerd or Here Comes the Nerd, depending on the character limit for the username. So I'm on Patreon. I'm on Pop Shop Live. Use code NERDY with 2 Y's. I say that like so organically now. I'm on Facebook page and group. The group is like where it's at though. The group is so much fun. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on where else? I have a
TikTok.
World Walking. I technically have TikTok. I have Pinterest. I haven't updated in years. I'm literally everywhere. So if you just look up Here Comes the Nerd, you will see me wherever your heart desires.
And I will link all of that in our episode description when this episode releases. So you can find Joanna wherever you like to hang out on the internet.
Yay, thank you, Karen.
Thank you for joining us, Joanna. This was so much fun.
This was so great. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to meet Mandy and Karen.
I know.
Like my favorite humans.
It's nice to find somebody, a kindred spirit with the whole Reese is not perfect and Throne of Glass thing. You don't find many people who think that.
That is true. I have not found another one yet, so it has been an honor. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. Here. Have a great day. Well, see you Pop Shop Live later or TikTok.
Oh,
TikTok Live later.
Oh, yeah. Got another interview later.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait until we have more people on that we can talk to about fun stuff like that.
I know, our first guest in the books. Thanks.
It's very exciting
with us. That's cool. Yeah.
And
what's even more exciting?
Yes. Go ahead, Mandy.
No, I was gonna let you tell it. I was just gonna segue.
Okay.
More exciting is ...
Joanna has agreed to partner with us on our podcast. Yay! So that means our wonderful listeners, you will benefit from it as well because Joanna has made us a very, very special discount code in her shop.
Woo-hoo! And her stuff is really cute. So maybe go do some shopping.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my money with her. as Mandy saw, and obviously y'all are just listening to us, so you can't see, but I got a lot of stuff from Joanna.
You do have a lot.
She is a very talented artist, so definitely go and support her.
Yes, she is. And we'll have a little more details at the end of the podcast, so stay tuned.
So this week in fangirling, I'm excited to talk about. I watched a lot of stuff.
I did not watch a lot of stuff.
I have a lot of things written down for this stuff.
I watched a lot of stuff, and I don't normally watch a lot of stuff. So when you consider that, I did watch a lot because Last
Yeah.
year, I don't think I only turned my TV on for Marvel shows last year, ever.
There were a lot of those though, so that was
Yeah.
nice. Okay, so you started the last segment, so I'll start this one.
Okay.
So this past week, I watched It's a Wonderful Life. That was my homework assignment for this past week, and I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I didn't cry. I'm sorry,
I
Mandy.
always cry. I cry like a baby.
I know. You warned me. You're like, have some tissues, and I'm like, okay, and I didn't cry, but I liked it. It's very, it's a good story, and it's good.
Mhm.
It's a good way to remember that like you matter to people.
Yeah.
Like
Even if you don't see even if you don't
Mhm.
see your impact,
right,
you still have
you
impact.
matter. Every person matters. So it's a
Mhm.
really good reminder that like don't get too down on yourself. Don't let the voices in your head tell you that you're not needed here, because you are. So I really enjoyed that. Continuing on with my feel good stories, I watched the Apple TV Plus movie, Oscar nominated Coda, and it was really good. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So it is about a family, and they're all deaf except for the main character. She is the only hearing person in her family. And so she is a senior in high school, and she wants to, go to a music college because she sings. She wants to be a singer. She wants to get into music. And so she's kind of learning how to be herself, because everything and there's a line in the movie where she says, "I've never done anything without my family." So it's very much it's like a coming of age movie, and it's very heartwarming. I love this family. I highly recommend this movie. There's a reason it's Oscar nominated. Yeah, it's really good. It's on Apple TV Plus, and my favorite part is that they cast deaf actors, and
I love that.
they made them. They were it's great because we're getting all of this diversity in Hollywood now that has been sorely missing. So
I was going to say they did
really
that with
great.
the Eternals and The Walking Dead.
With Lauren Redlaw.
I can't call. Yeah. Instead of just having somebody that can speak, I don't know, can sign ASL.
Yeah.
They
did that on
had a person.
Yeah, and on Hawkeye with oh gosh, I can't remember her name. Echo's character, Echo.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's great, and it's so important, because they were incredibly talented actors. Like
and it's actually representing a community instead of just representing a community.
Right. It's really well done, and I might be one of the few people who really, really enjoys award shows. Like I love awards. I love award show season. It's one of my favorite times of the year. And so the Oscars are coming up at the end of this month, and I have a list of all the nominees, and I'm going to try and watch as many of them as I can.
Yep. Just so that you can know whether you agree or not with who wins.
I want to be informed in my outrage.
Right.
Because when I forget, I think maybe it was the Academy Awards, not the Academy Awards are the Oscars, the SAG Awards or the Emmys or something, where Ted Lasso won everything. And I was like angry because I wanted other things to win, but then I'm like, I haven't seen Ted Lasso, so I can't be properly outraged. So I'm trying to be informed.
I love that.
Continuing on with that, I actually also watched West Side Story this week.
I did too, actually.
Oh, it was I've never seen West Side Story in any iteration. And I was
think I had either.
Amazed at how many of the songs I knew.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait, I know this one and I know that one. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was from West Side Story. And then there's a song where I don't know if it's the name of the song, but there's a line where where he's singing like it's almost like praying. It's in one of the songs, but um I saw that and I was like, wait, that Lin-Manuel Miranda did like a mix of that to raise money for like I think it was Hurricane Maria that hit Puerto Rico a few years
Which would have
back.
been fitting.
Yeah. So I was just like, wait, I know this. It was really beautiful. It was a beautiful movie.
It really was, except I did have to laugh that it makes you like it spoiler alert, if you haven't seen West Side Story and want to maybe step away for 30 seconds, it leaves you feeling exactly like Romeo and Juliet did, where it's like, if you guys could just get your heads out of your asses for 5 minutes, everybody could be friends.
That was
everybody
my immediate
could get
thought.
along.
That was my
it's like,
immediate
okay, you had
thought.
to die. You had to die over your stubbornness.
I was expecting, because it had such like Romeo and Juliet vibes, that I was expecting Maria to also die, like kill herself at the end. Sorry, spoiler alert, I guess. But it definitely, I wonder, do we know? I don't know, but is there somebody out there who knows whether this was like kind of like a retelling of Romeo and Juliet? Like it was inspired by?
It probably was written to be that way, just modernized. When it was written to engage more audiences. I wouldn't be surprised.
I will say it was hard for me to watch in the beginning just because of the blatant overt racism. Like I understand that was part of the times and that is stuff that happened legitimately. It was just, anything like that just kind of gets me when it's I knew that the story would progress and I knew that stuff, they didn't resolve
and
stuff,
the lesson was, you see what this gets you.
Exactly. It's just, it was a little bit difficult for me at the beginning to be like, you guys suck so hard.
And what was funny, and not in like a comical way, but is that you have, the guys who are so racist against the Puerto Ricans, but they are also, considered like the lowlifes and the dregs of society by everyone else. So it's like, if you could look in the mirror, you're doing to them what others do to you, and you don't like it,
And that's kind of what happens in life. Like you get hurt, so you want to hurt other people back. But overall I really enjoyed it. I thought Rachel Ziegler was phenomenal, but Ariana DeBose, my God, she won a SAG award for that performance, and she earned it, dude. She was phenomenal. I love her. I also am probably slightly biased because she was in Hamilton, so we know how much I love Hamilton.
Not even a little bit. You hate Hamilton.
And then
the worst.
And then I also watched obviously Castle. I've been continuing that, but I watched 2 of the documentary shorts that were nominated for the Oscars. Sorry, I put candy in my mouth, so I'm like bad choice. So one of them is called Audible, which was about the deaf football team, like high school football team, kind of coming to terms with one of their players, I believe, committed suicide, and so they're entering their senior year and kind of recovering from that, and also trying to figure out like just their lives. They're high school students. And then the other one is called 3 Songs for Benazir, I believe. And it's also a documentary short. And it was just about, a couple, gosh, I can't remember. It was a Middle Eastern country, and it was just, kind of following the life of this couple and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to watch a couple of, because they were shorts and I had like an hour to kill between what I had finished watching and like a basketball game or something. So I was like, I can get in 2 of these and mark them off my list.
I get it.
It was, and I don't typically watch documentaries. So it was definitely a change of pace for me, but it was nice to kind of watch something that was like these are legitimate real world things that are happening. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have so many more. So I'm gonna take a break and let you talk about what you watched. Because I have so many more things that I wrote down, but the rest are books. So
okay. So this week I had 2 homeworks and I did one of them. I was not able to watch Fresh this week. I got a little under the weather and just decided to be a bed bug and stay in my bed most of the weekend. But I did watch Turning Red, which is absolutely precious. It is so cute. I know we talked about it last week, but the boy band just
I need a
me up.
whole CD. I need them to release an album.
Yes.
It was so good.
Yeah, and it was every preteen girl that time in that time frame. Like that's when we were 13, is 2002, and it was boy band craze. Yeah, it was precious. And that last scene after the credits, I died. I cracked up. So yeah, I really enjoyed Turning Red. I have, like I said earlier, continued reading Red Queen. I finished Glass Sword and now I'm starting in King's Cage, which I think is the last book that I've actually read, and then I'll get into War Storm. I can't tell you what it is because you were able to get to Batman this week, but my brilliant 14-year-old nephew pointed something out to me that other people may know, and this may be a commonly known thing. I did not know it, and my brain exploded. And I'm like screaming and fangirling, and so next week we can fangirl about it because I'm blown away. I am blown away about something.
Yeah, I also only did half of my homework assignment for the week. I only watched It's a Wonderful Life. I did not get the chance to go and watch the Batman. So we will hopefully talk about that next week. I will get to it, I swear.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to make you, if I have to come out there and like drag you to a movie theater because it's so good. And then yesterday, like I mentioned, I wasn't feeling well, so I stayed in the bed all day, and I was going through Netflix and realized that there was a new season of Virgin River, and I had watched the first 2 seasons, so I binged all of it, and it left us on another cliffhanger. It's one of those shows where it's very like Hallmark Lifetime, where like everybody's nice and everybody's friendly, and yeah, there's a little bit of drama, but it's like wholesome. And sometimes, especially in the state of the world today, you need a wholesome.
That's
so
true.
It looks like it's trying to be dark, and there are some dark themes, but it's very hokey. And then I already talked about I've been watching, they didn't release it all together, but The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I will fangirl a little bit, and the photos, there have been photos posted all over the internet, so I hope that this is not a spoiler, but maybe if you're watching Mrs. Maisel and you're not caught up, earmuffs for a few seconds. Milo Ventimiglia showed up, which my running joke has been that if my husband and Tom Hiddleston don't work out, this man I have loved since I was 12. He showed up. He's a total a-hole. He's only there for like 5 minutes, but I just was like, Milo Ventimiglia in 1960s style clothing is everything I want out of life. So I got to fangirl over him, even though he was so terrible in the episode. But it was still like, there he is.
Oh my goodness.
And I cannot remember her name now. it's on the tip of my tongue, but the woman who plays the grandmother in Gilmore Girls is also on this season, and she is fantastic in everything she does. And she's it's the same character, the snooty old rich lady, and she's talking to another character, and she does that look that like, you come and cross me, you try, like the raised eyebrow and everything, and it was just like, Grandma!
My goodness, I love that. I'll have to bump that up on my list.
Yes, it is it's such a fun watch. It's like, you'll be like tears pouring down your face laughing. It is so funny at times. Well, it's the same people who created the Gilmore Girls, so the writing is you can see, if you've watched Gilmore Girls, you could very easily tell that it's Amy Sherman Palladino who's created this as well.
I love that. I love when somebody like creators like that, they just have such a style that you can just pick up, like even without knowing it. Like when
it's different, but it's not. It's different, but it's not at the same time.
Well, like when I first watched the Avengers in 2012, when it first came out in theaters, I knew that Joss Whedon directed it, and I don't want to get into my very conflicted feelings about Joss Whedon right now, but when I knew that he directed it, so I was really excited about that because I am a huge Buffy fan. You know, Buffy shaped my childhood essentially and shaped my formative years, so I was a huge fan. And as I was watching the movie, I was just like, did he also write this? Because that is a very like Whedon things are happening on screen. Yeah. And so I was sitting, you know, waiting for the credits to roll out, and I saw that he did the screenplay, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that everything makes sense now. And it's just it's very nice when you have like and I think it's probably a huge compliment. Yeah, I feel like it's probably a huge compliment to these creators as well, that they have such a distinctive style that we just are able to know that they're involved.
Right. Yeah, and sorry, my dog is barking in the background. A leaf is probably flying across the yard. Yeah, it's you know, the rapid fire style of conversations where the camera will follow a character through the house and they're having an argument or they're having like a really quick conversation. They do that in Mrs. Maisel as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I like that.
They don't talk as fast as Rory and Lorelai do, but it's still like it's very Palladino.
Okay. All right.
I'll bump it. Most of what I did. That's most of what I did this week.
Got it. Okay. Well, I have a couple books on my list. So this past week, I didn't mention it last week because I forgot. I was reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I was actually listening to it on Audible, on an audiobook, if I can speak. And it was actually recommended to me by Joanna as part of my 12 books in the year, like my reading challenge for the year. So I'm doing a reading challenge for this year where I am reading 12 books recommended to me by 12 friends. And so that was one of the recommendations. And I don't know if you've ever read Agatha Christie, but this was my first read and I loved it.
Really?
I was going into it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna, because when I think Agatha Christie, I just think murder mystery, and it's like, those can be well done, but it's not like the typical stuff that I read. Right. But I loved it, and I would recommend it. I think it was a really good introduction to Agatha Christie, and I might like pick up some more stuff from her now. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's a whodunit essentially. And it kept me guessing the whole way through. And at one point I was like, oh, it's definitely like this person. And then I was like, oh, it definitely can't be that person. And then, it blew me away. I don't want to say anything else because it kind of gives it away, but I'm just like, oh, it was so good. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. Cool. I think listening to it on audiobook probably helped me in getting through it. because I feel like if I had
Right.
sat down to read it, I would have taken a really long time and would have lost that momentum. So I highly recommend. It's called And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie.
Okay.
I finished reading The Constellation of Roses that I said I was reading last week. And that ended up being a really it was a really cute story. Like I don't think it's anything to like gush about, but I felt like it was pretty cute. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Probably would read it again, like if I had nothing else and it's hanging around.
Yeah.
And actually I had signed up for a Kindle Unlimited was doing like a 2-month free trial, and I was like, oh, okay, it's free for 2 months, so I'll sign up for that. And so I had that, and they actually had the first volume of the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye. And so I read that recently. I hadn't read a comic book in so long. So it was a really, really fun. But I actually took a screenshot of one of the panels because I read it and then I laughed out loud, and like it was just so I'm going to show it to you, but obviously our listeners aren't going to be able to see it, but I'll show it to you and then I'll read it. I don't know if it's going to show up. Let me text it to you.
Okay.
But so basically it's a panel where Clint and Kate are dressed up to go to an event, and so it says, so Clint says, "Hey, great Cumberbatch," and Kate's like, "Bunned," and I just stopped and laughed so hard. I'm like, did they do that on purpose?
They had to have done that on purpose.
They had to. So I laughed so hard. And for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, Benedict Cumberbatch plays Doctor Strange in the MCU on screen. So when I read that, I laughed so hard.
Cackled. I love it.
It's great.
That is
And
really funny.
Okay, I'm almost done with my stuff. I am reading 3 books right now. And they're all in different formats, which is the only way I can do it. Otherwise I'll lose my mind. So I am reading Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz. And it's like this gothic tale of, I don't really know, a gothic tale full of mystery and romance. Yes.
I need you to tell me if I can read it, because I picked it up, but then it said it was about a surgeon, and I was like, I'm too squeamish.
Okay,
so far, to like graphic surgeries.
So far, there haven't been, but there has been a frog. And for those of you who don't know, Mandy does not do frogs.
I don't do frogs. I'm terrified.
So that's my random trigger warning for you.
Yeah,
but it's really early on, and it's like, but it is like a scene, so you might not be able to get through that.
Well,
so yeah, I'll explain it to you off camera.
Okay.
And so I'm reading that, and our readers can't, or our listeners can't see, but I have the Barnes and Noble exclusive edition, which is so pretty. I love pretty books. I love pretty books. I am listening to These Violent Delights on audiobook, in which my book boyfriend, Roma Montigov, exists. And it is actually, speaking of Romeo and Juliet, it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. But it is set in Shanghai.
Oh.
So it is 1926 Shanghai. And it's got a bit of like a fantasy element to it. So you've got the 2 gangs that are like at the top of, the Shanghai gang world or whatnot. And we've got our Juliet, who is actually named Juliet. She is Juliet Tsai, is one family. And then we've got the Montagovs as the other family. So we've got Juliet and Roma, and those are our 2 like main characters. And so what happens at the beginning, and is like the mystery of the book, is that there's like this weird, mysterious, like sickness or something going on that is causing people to I guess go insane. And they like, you probably won't be able to read this, they tear out their own throats. And so yeah, it's actually, you probably won't be able to read it. It's graphic. It's graphic. When I was listening to it, and I was like, oh dear, I like clutched myself. I'm like, oh my God, I was not expecting that. So
yeah.
I'm very early
the book is called These Violent Delights.
Yeah.
So
I should have known. I didn't expect it to be that violent, but yeah. And it's part of, it looks like it is a duology, but there's like a novella in between.
Yeah.
I
feel like the next book might have just come out.
November 2021.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So this one's called These Violent Delights, and the second one is Our Violent Ends.
Yeah.
So it does sound like it's a duology, but I'm on Goodreads right now, and there's a These Violent Delights 0.5, so it's like a novella.
Okay.
So yeah, but that is by Chloe Gong, if anybody is interested. It's really well written. I'm excited to find out what happens, but it was definitely like a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then the last book that I am reading on Kindle Unlimited, and it's called Moon Touched by Elizabeth Briggs. It was another book that was recommended to me for my reading challenge by a friend of mine, and I don't actually really know what it's about. It sounds like it's about this girl. She's in her early 20s, who is part of a wolf pack. Like they're like shape-shifting wolves, not werewolves because they can shapeshift whenever, but I guess if you read Twilight, werewolves can shapeshift whenever. So I don't know, are those considered werewolves if they're not like only at the full moon?
The moon.
So anyway, so she's like in her early 20s, and she's like an outcast in her pack because she is her dad had an affair with a human woman, so she's a half-breed. So yeah, I haven't gotten very far into it. I'm only on like chapter 2, but I'm interested to see where it goes. So far I'm intrigued by all the things that I'm reading, so we'll see how it goes.
Very cool.
Yes.
So I do have one more thing from this week. I forgot that I had it here. I know last week I was talking about reading Circus of Wonders, and I figured I could go over what the gifts were, because this was a Once Upon a Book Club box. So you got the book Circus of Wonders by Elizabeth McNeil, and I got a signed book plate with it, and there's a print and a bookmark that had a quote from the book in it. I know our listeners can't see, but I have everything in my lap. So spoiler alert, if you got the Weird and Wonderful box from Once Upon a Book Club, or if you just don't like to know what's in subscription boxes, maybe skip to the next segment. So the first gift, the characters were developing some film, and this takes place in the 1860s, so they're in like a dark like a dark car type thing.
Okay.
And yeah, and so they were hanging photos on clotheslines. So I got it's like a light up clothesline thing to hold photos on. So it's got like little twinkle lights and little clothespins, and you can like hang it on your wall and hang photos.
That.
Yeah.
How cute.
Then the next gift was a pillowcase that has like looks like two kind of fairy type. One looks like a tree fairy, and maybe even a human girl, and inside there were 3 coins for whatever this area is, and it's because a character stuffs some money in a pillowcase and sends her brother away.
Okay.
Then there was a ring with one of the characters' initials engraved in it. And then the last one was the coolest to me. It was a copy of Grimm's Fairy Tales, and it has like decorative edges, and it's like an actual book. I thought maybe it was going to be like a journal,
Oh
but
my
no, it's an actual
gosh.
book, and it has like artwork in it. So this one is Little Red Riding Hood, and she's got the wolf staring out of her granny's clothes. I was really, really excited when I opened this. Yeah, and so those were the 4 gifts, and the book ended up, it took me a while to get invested in it, but it actually ended up being really good. I'm really glad I stuck with it and read it. And that is Once Upon a Book Club. And if you want to go subscribe, you use code Mandy10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off.
Yay,
That
is
was
so
what
cool.
I finished this week. Yeah,
You got a
these gifts were
full
really
like
awesome.
second book.
Yeah,
That
I
is
was pumped.
so cool. That is
Yeah,
very
I
cool.
was
That
really
is, I feel
excited.
like that's really cool to get that in a subscription box for a specific book, and then you get like a whole second book. Like
a whole second book.
oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, I was really excited. All right, so this week in Where My Money Went, I think I'll start if that's okay.
Yeah.
I have first, my husband, when he gets on Amazon to buy anything, he always like checks my wish list and will just randomly buy random stuff. So he got me a couple books, but only one of them has come in so far, but he got me The Witch of Crimson Arrows by A.K. Mulford. A.K. Mulford is who wrote The High Mountain Court and The Witch's Blade. It's the, I can't remember if it's the Lands of Oakrith or the Courts of Oakrith series, but this is one of her novellas, and they're fantastic. I was able to get an arc of The Witch's Blade, and it was wonderful. So this is a little novella that happens, I believe, between the High Mountain Court and The Witch's Blade. I'm really excited for all of the next books that are coming, because she's a very talented writer. So I'm excited to read that. I'll probably read it today because it's only like 50 pages. I didn't really show these last week, even though technically I got them before last week, but I went to my husband's a ghost hunter, and we traveled to Louisiana for him to do an event. And on the way back, I stopped in a bookstore in Jackson, Mississippi called Lemuria. And I got 4 books. So I got Payback the Witch, which I know, yeah, you're excited about that one.
I'm so excited. I read that. I picked that up on a whim at Target because the cover is really pretty, and I read it so quickly, and I keep telling people that they need to read it because I love it so much.
So yeah, I'm excited to read this. I really am. I'm really pumped about the Atlas Sticks. This has been one of those books where I've just been looking at it for a while. So the back cover just says Secrets, Betrayal, Seduction, Power. Welcome to the Alexandrian Society.
I'm in.
Very excited. I know I talked about this one last week, but I bought the hardcover of Firekeeper's Daughter. And then when I travel, I like to buy a book about the place that we've been. And if we're going for him to ghost hunt, I typically like to buy like a Tell Me the Ghost Stories from here. So I got a Ghost Stories of New Orleans. Even though we weren't in New Orleans, we were close-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a couple of pre-orders. I didn't pre-order The Hating Game. I ordered The Hating Game from Books A Million because I went to pre-order Off With My Head by Stassi Schroeder-Clark, and I got the alert that if I spent $25, then I could get 15% off or 10% off or something like that. And I was at like $24.50. So it was like, well,
twist my
I'll
arm, get a new book.
God, to get a discount. So I got The Hating Game. So it's on the way. And then outside of that, my money went to buying my mom and I's Disney tickets and booking our hotel. And I booked some dinner reservations. So we're going to eat at Wolfgang Puck when we're at Disney Springs. And then we got I'm probably going to say it wrong, the San Angel in the Mexico Pavilion, which is very similar. Like y'all's Pirates of the Caribbean has a restaurant in it, right? Where you can watch the boats go by.
Yeah.
So our Mexico Pavilion at Epcot has something similar, and it looks like you're out to dinner at night under, at twilight with a giant temple in the background, like a temple pyramid in the background. And every time we go to ride the ride in the Mexico Pavilion, my mom and I are like, I really want to eat there. And so I got us reservations to that. I'm still
That's
trying for a
exciting.
Chefs de France reservation for dinner so we can have some French for dinner, but haven't had any luck yet. But that is where my money went this week.
That sounds like fun though. I
Yeah.
actually stopped at I've had dinner at Blue Bayou, which is the restaurant inside Pirates, and it was so good. So
I bet.
it's pricey, but it was well worth it.
Worth it.
All right. So where did my money go this week? Well, I went to Target a few times this week, so I bought a few books.
Danger, Will Robinson.
So I picked up, I didn't write down the authors of these books, but I picked up Anxious People, which is written by a man, and I almost put it back because of that. I texted Mandy and I was like, oh, I don't know. And I don't remember what you said, but then I was like, well, okay, twist my arm, buy a book.
I said my favorite book of all time was written by a man. So to be fair.
All right. Men can write, I guess.
But sometimes men can
it's
write.
called Anxious People, and it just describes me as a person. So it's like, yeah. Well, I have no idea. Again, I pick books based on titles and covers, so I'll know what it's about. But Anxious People is me. The other book I picked up on that same trip is called The Bookshop of Second Chances.
Oh,
the title sounds very intriguing. I love books about bookshops, so I'm intrigued. And then I picked up the House on the Cerulean Sea because everybody keeps telling me I need to read it.
It's very good.
Then I also got The Paris Apartment, which keeps showing up on like all of my
shown up a lot.
Yeah, all of my like Instagram like ads. It shows up on my Goodreads every like few days, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'll try it. We'll see. It must be good if it keeps showing up everywhere, right? And then I received a pre-order from FYE, which was their exclusive edition of the Fastos Funko Pop. I put it away, so it's not next to me, so I can't show you. But it's just got the thing on his hand where he's like, it's cute, and I love Fastos.
Yeah.
And I got a few things from Grimoire Tea and Here Comes the Nerd, two of my favorite small shops ever. I'm obsessed with them, and I also gave them more of my money this week as well because Grimoire Tea had a ready to ship sale, and Here Comes the Nerd was doing a live event on Pop Shop Live, so I spent a lot of money with them. I also got some pre-order goodies from some authors. So some of the pre-orders I did with Barnes and Noble, the authors had pre-order campaigns and they sent out goodies. So the first one I got is An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. I am so excited for this book. This book actually showed up on my Instagram like discover page, and the cover looked so pretty that I clicked on the post, and then I followed the author, which led me to like a bunch of other AAPI authors who I now follow on, and it just escalated really, really quickly. But she sent out, and so there's this, and our readers, I keep saying readers, our listeners can't see, but it's
that is like gorgeous.
So she drew or painted this design that is on like she called it a tripglyph. Is that what? I don't know what that means, but it's
so
like
3 photos that go together.
Yeah, it's kind of like 3 bookmarks, but the image all goes together. And obviously I haven't read the book because it hasn't been released yet. But she says that these are very important images to the book.
So for listeners, it looks like a globe, and it looks like 2 people kind of flying around it, and it's just beautiful.
It's very pretty. I'll post a picture of it on our Instagram.
Yeah.
And then I got a signed book plate, which I'm excited about, which is funny because the book I pre-ordered a signed copy, so I just will have this extra book plate.
Oh.
And then little moon stickers.
Cute.
Oh no, I think my headphones are starting to die.
Oh no.
And then I think this is also a sticker. It says, "The next time the moon is full, look up," and it's an image of the moon and the quote over it, and it's really pretty. So that was one thing. And then the other one was another pre-order goodie from a pre-order campaign. The book has already released because this author is actually in Australia. And so it took a while to get to me, but it is For Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. So it came with a bookmark and three little character cards, which are very cute. And a little, it says, "Welcome to the Monster Court." So I'm assuming that in the book there is something called a Monster Court.
Monsters.
Like a little sticker, a signed book plate, and then just a cute little like seal or something sticker. So it's very cute. I haven't read the book yet. I did receive my pre-order. I got the book. That I got it while I was on vacation, and so I just haven't had time to pick it up. So yeah,
right.
But that is where my money went this week. Lots of books and lots of small shop stuff, which sounds like my most weeks with me.
So what we're anticipating this week is the exact same as last week. But our timelines are going to be off slightly because by the time you are listening to this, it's already happened. It's already come out. I'm dying for the War of Two Queens. It comes out on Tuesday, which is 2 days from now. I'm sure by the time you're hearing this, I finished. I hope I'm not completely devastated. The last book completely destroyed me, especially at the cliffhanger that they left us on. So I'm sure I'll have lots of things to say next week. I'm sure I will have a lot of things to say. So that's what I'm anticipating. I'm getting back with my boy Castile. And we'll see how it goes. I just hope everyone I love survives.
That's always the worry. So for me, I don't think I'm anticipating anything new this week. I think I'm still waiting for those two books that I had talked about last week, which are coming out at the end of the month, and then Moon Knight still is coming out at the end of the month. So I do want to say that I did look up the name of the second book of the duology. So the first book is called A Magic Steeped in Poison, and the second book is called A Venom Dark and Sweet. And it's a duology by Judy Eilen, and I am very, very excited. So that is what I am still anticipating. But nothing
very exciting.
Nothing new, I don't think. I think everything for this month is just at the end. So
yeah,
I'll still be anticipating
that weird period. Yeah. All right. Okay. Are you ready for this?
I don't know.
Fangirl freestyle.
Scared.
I have got so many notes. Okay. So fangirl freestyle.
It's Mandy's turn this week.
Disclaimer: I do not share this opinion. Okay. I do not. I'm wearing my Illyrian training camp t-shirt to be on theme. Okay. I do not believe this, but Tamlin deserves a redemption arc.
No. Absolutely not.
I agree, but hear me out. So we know that the first ACOTAR was written to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling, right? Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, that makes sense. So we assume that Feyre is Belle and Marantha is the enchantress who comes to curse him, and he has to make Feyre fall in love with him. Well, she never says that she is, and he sends her back to her family rather than send her to Amarantha, right? What if Feyre is the one who technically cursed his heart because now he's in full beast mode? What if Belle is coming? I hate it.
Fascinating.
So there's also a theory that Amarantha was Tamlin's mate, but he rejected the bond because of how terrible she is. And that sparked all of the darkness and all of the awful.
Oh, I hate this.
Let's reflect on if you look back at my Facebook when I first read ACOTAR about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I did not ever like Tamlin, which a lot of people did. Respect, you can have your opinion, but my first complaint, like 50 pages in, 100 pages in, was how could she care about Tamlin when Lucien is right there?
Exactly.
Didn't get it. Did not get it. I was like, I hate this guy. He's terrible. Lucien is there. And then the second that when you find out that it's Rhys steps out from behind the tree on Fire Night, and he's like, the reason that it pulled me, okay, and we've already talked about it once this episode, they describe him as the black, he's got black hair and he's the most beautiful man she's ever seen. And so I was watching Heroes at the time and my brain went, oh my God, Milo Ventimiglia just stepped out of this tree. So I was automatically in love with him. I didn't care. I was like, it's Milo. I'm in love. So I was a Rhys girl. I didn't care that he, like, when he hurt her arm in the Court of Night, or not in the Court of Nightmares, Under the Mountain. I didn't care. I was like, I love him. It's fine. He's got his reasons. And but anyways, going back and thinking about what we know about Tamlin, he did do some good things. Okay. So he took in Lucien when he had nowhere else to go. He defended Lucien. He was always kind to Lucien, you know, in the beginning. Of course, they have their differences now. When he took Feyre from her family, he sent them money because he knew that she was their only source of income. And so he made sure that they were not only taken care of, but very well taken care of. They were able to live a very luxurious life once he started sending them money. And then rather than handing Feyre over and taking her under the mountain, he sent her home, even knowing that she didn't say she loved him, you know. He still sent her away. Neutral points, he didn't want to be High Lord. His dad was kind of a dick, and he did not want what he got. But then we're not going to, you know, defend all of the terrible things he's done, which included he participated in all the events that led to the death of Rhys's mother and sister. Rhys, who was his friend, who taught him how to fight like an Illyrian, who trusted him. He's a shitty High Lord. He actively encourages the patriarchy. No such thing as a high lady, really, my guy. He's obviously very emotionally abusive to Feyre. And something that someone on TikTok pointed out was, and then I never thought of, Feyre never got to see his quarters. She never saw his room, how he lived. He always came to her because he didn't trust her enough or care enough about her to actually truly let her in completely, right? So we know he's awful. We know that he's the worst, but is redemption coming? And another thing we need to consider is that so far we have only seen Tamlin through the eyes of the Court of Dreams. People who are either Rhys and Feyre or are loyal to Rhys and Feyre. Even Nesta, if it came down to it, she's going to side with Rhys and Feyre over Tamlin, right?
Right.
And you know that there, in any disagreement ever, there's two sides and then there's the truth.
Right.
Another question that I hate is Elaine going to end up with Tamlin? I don't want her to. I love Lucian. I want Lucian to be happy.
But why? What?
A lot of people think this is a very widely accepted theory because Elaine is spring in person. She's gardening, she's flowers, she's soft and gentle, and everybody thinks, oh well, she's going to end up being High Lady of the Spring Court.
Elaine would never forgive Tamlin for what he did.
Elaine is
a very kind-hearted soul, but I don't think if it was just her, I think maybe, but the fact that it Feyre and Nesta were like pulled into all of this and were emotionally damaged by him, like I don't think that she would ever be able to forgive that.
Okay, so two things on that point. One, it is Tamlin's fault that Nesta went into the cauldron, that they were brought in front of the King of Hybern, but he truly thought, I think, that Rhys had manipulated Feyre, and he truly thought in his heart that he was coming to save her, right?
I feel like everything that Tamlin has done is selfishly motivated, and it's for his own personal.
Agreed.
Okay, continue.
But also, do we really know that Elaine is so good? Because I fall asleep if you say the name Elaine. She's so boring to me that I'm just like, ugh, do I have to listen to her? But what do we know about her, really, truly? We don't know what's in her head. There's a very widely accepted theories on Book Talk that she is going to be a major villain because everybody just thinks she's sweet little Elaine who can't do anything, doesn't want to do anything. She's sweet and timid.
She's not perfect. I think that Elaine has at her core is a kind soul and would rather be nice to people than not, but she definitely has some of that darkness in her. I mean, isn't she the one who stabbed the King of Hybern?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she definitely has.
Was it her or was it Nesta?
I can't remember now.
Her. I think you're right. I'm gonna Google it.
I can't remember. In my mind, it's always been Elaine, but maybe she was just the one. I think she stabbed her first, and Nesta killed him because he was about to kill them.
Nesta beheaded him.
Yeah.
So Elaine stabbed him in the neck, and then Nesta comes up. Yeah,
right. Because she would do whatever it took to protect her family, and Nesta was about to be killed by the King of Hybern. So she stabbed him. So she definitely has that darkness in her to be able to do it. But I think my personal opinion is that at her core, she is a kind person and she wishes to be a kind person. But if anything were to happen to the people that she loved, I could absolutely see her going straight Scarlet Witch. I'm becoming the villain,
So a lot of people are calling for there to be a major death in the next book because we haven't really lost anyone that we like, any of the core cast, which would devastate me. But what would devastate me more is if Azriel ends up with Elaine. I will riot. I will riot in the streets. I will set something on fire. I can't.
I want, oh gosh, what's her name?
Gwen.
No. I want is that who it is? Is the
Nesta's friend?
No, not Nesta's friend. The other one in the Court of Dreams, the girl that's not
Morrigan.
Yes. Yes. Moore is the one that Azriel has a thing for, right? Or it seems like there's unrequited feelings there. She's the one. I want her to come out to them. That's what I want.
Too.
Yeah. I thought
you were gonna say
no.
I thought you were gonna say that you want them together. And I was like, no, because
I don't know that I want Azriel with anybody. I feel like I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love sweet Azriel, and I believe that he deserves all the love in the world. But I don't feel like we've met anybody that I would want to pair him with.
Do you want me to break your heart?
No.
I read another fan theory that the reason that Azriel is so quiet and so like covered in scars and all of that is because he had a mate and it was Reese's sister. Is that not devastating? It makes me want to die thinking about it. It makes me want to die thinking about that sweet baby angel.
My soul just left my body. How dare you? And you call yourself my friend.
I'm sorry. I need someone. It's like with Serpent and Dove. I needed somebody to feel the pain with me.
Oh my gosh, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
if that were the case, though, if that were the case, would it be the only way that I could see that making sense is if they hadn't, like, if he or she hadn't, like, acknowledged the bond yet, like, they didn't really, you know what I mean? Because I feel like there's no way that Reese and Cass wouldn't, like, we would know by now, I feel like.
Well, I mean, if you think about it this way, Reese knew that Feyre was his mate, like, in the moment before Amarantha snapped her neck. So maybe right before Reese's sister died, Azriel knew. Maybe she didn't even know, and maybe he hasn't told anybody. Maybe it's so painful that he can't.
But didn't Reese know before she even died, before she became Fae, before any of that? Like when he first saw her at the fire night.
No. Because remember, she was his mate.
But he knew that there was a connection between them.
He knew he had a connection to her.
Yeah.
But he said, I thought he said watching her under the mountain was when he knew she was his mate before. And then he says, and then she snapped your neck and I felt you die.
Maybe.
And I knew you were my mate.
Yeah. Well, and then at that point they had that bond already, not the mating bond, but the other with his bargain bond.
The bargain. Thing. And so he got confused maybe and thought, okay, well this feeling I have towards her is just the bargain.
Right. So I don't know, but that just breaks my heart though. Poor sweet Azriel.
I know. And so there's another discussion of if something were to happen to Tamlin, Elaine being fated or destined or somehow becoming a High Lady of the Spring Court, because she's literally spring, you know.
I just had a thought. Because we know that Lucien and Elaine are mates, right? Okay.
And I wish she would be sweet to that sweet baby angel.
I think she's got trauma, but anyways, I love him. She's got, but do you think that something will happen that, I mean, he's lived with the Spring Court for so long that Lucien might be her way to become High Lady of the Spring Court?
Possibly, because he's got a position in the Spring Court now.
And if something were to happen to Tamlin, there's where does that power go? There would be a power vacuum for the High Lord. Like Lucien would be the most,
because even though Lucien is technically from the Autumn Court, even though now we know Helion is his dad, not Baron. Right. He has been given a title and a position in the Spring Court. So it could very well be that
if Elaine becomes High Lady of the Spring Court, I think that it will be through Lucien, not Tamlin.
Mm-hmm. I hope so.
I think that eventually something or other, she's gonna figure out, like, yes, this is my mate, and I do feeling something's gonna happen.
I feel it now.
That's what I need to happen in order to not die.
Another thing I need to happen if we're talking about Tamlin getting a redemption arc, which I don't necessarily think he deserves because I hate Tamlin and I always have. But I don't necessarily want it to follow the Beauty and the Beast of like her swooping in and saving him from himself. I would rather Tamlin actually have some growth and realize that he is emotionally abusive, that he is a traumatic person, that he is a vengeful and cruel person at times, and actually change to better himself before trying to be with somebody else. Because
faith therapy.
Yeah, he needs therapy, and everyone has problems. Everyone has their issues, but it should never be that you change because of someone. You should change and then love someone new.
You know, again, I don't think that Tamlin deserves a redemption arc. I also
I don't
hate
either.
him to my very core. However, if he does get one, first of all, I hope it's in the form of like a novella, so I don't have to read about Tamlin too long. But secondly, I would like it to be more of he himself is Belle. In that, if we're talking about Beauty and the Beast parallels, he himself becomes Belle. He has to save himself. Like we see him go through a journey, and he learns how to fall in love. He falls in love with himself. He learns how to love himself. And that is the Beauty and the Beast story, not an external like person coming in.
A girl swooping in.
Yeah. Like you don't need to have the love of somebody else in order to survive life. You need to be able to love yourself, and that's what he needs to learn.
Right.
I think that would be that in novella form.
That would be the best way.
That would be the only way that I will accept a Tamlin redemption arc. You hear that, SJM? Wherever you are.
Listen. And then you know what's funny is she'll write it to where we'll be like, oh my God, we were so wrong.
I know. She's going to play with all of our feelings.
Yep.
Oh,
that was Fangirl Freestyle.
So Mandy's hot take, repeat it again for all the listeners.
Mandy does not agree with this hot take. I don't believe this, but my hot take this week was that Tamlin deserves a redemption arc.
I hate it.
I need a shower. I'm glad we do this at the end so I can go take a shower off all the filth.
I hate it so much. Oh goodness. All right. So I think that's everything.
Yeah, that was
really quickly. I do want to issue a correction from last week. I said that the author of The Dressmakers of Auschwitz was Lily Adlington. Her name is actually Lucy Adlington, and I wanted to put that in there because I feel like it's a really important book to read, and so I want to make sure that we have the correct information. So the book is called. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, now that you say that, I never gave the author of The Firekeeper's Daughter, and that's Angeline Boulet. I mean, I was going to show it, but we're a podcast. But yeah, same thing. I didn't say the author.
I'll write those. I'll put that in our episode description so that you have access to it. Maybe I'll link like the Goodreads page for both of those books.
Okay.
So that way it's easy for people to get them. I just feel like these are both really important reads, and I messed up and I said the wrong name. As I was editing last week, I realized, oh crap. So it's The Dressmakers of Auschwitz by Lucy Adlington is the book that I read that I think is important. So yeah, perfect. That is my quick little correction from last week. So if you enjoyed our podcast, we can officially tell you we are basically everywhere that you can get podcasts now. I submitted us to all of the streaming services. The only issue is that it seems that Stitcher can take up to 2 weeks to post. So if you listen to us, or if you listen to your podcast on Stitcher, we might not be on there yet, but keep checking back because I promise I submitted it and I promise that we're coming. But if you enjoyed this episode, or you just want to fangirl out with us, hit the subscribe button and follow us and listen to
Leave
all of
some
our ramblings.
reviews.
Yes, and leave us some reviews.
If you would like to reach out to us, follow us on social media. We are on Instagram and TikTok at The Incoherent Fangirl, on Twitter as Incoherent Girls, right?
Yep.
On Twitter as Incoherent Girls, because they have a character limit that we exceeded. We have a Facebook page. We are also, where else are we? That's it.
We have a Gmail.
We have an email. Yes, you can also send us an email at theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Pretty please. So
Yes.
if you have comments, questions, suggestions on this episode or our other episode, if you want to weigh in on either of our hot takes from these episodes, we would, especially if you disagree with us, we would love to hear your.
Yes, I would love to hear. I would love to talk to you.
I would, yeah, that would be so much fun. So if you if you
or have any suggestions, books or movies or TV shows or anything like that,
things you want us to talk about, we can, read them, watch them, whatever, and talk about them, and we can all become besties over the internet. So
yes, internet besties.
Yes, that is. So yeah, follow us, send us an email. We would really, really love to hear from you guys. And just, it would be so much fun.
And that is the Incoherent Fangirl episode 2.
Hey, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.